Hey guys, how's it going? Chapter 8, Lesson 2, Multiples of Fractions. Now, the last lesson, 8.1, Chapter 8, Lesson 1, was multiples, right? Remember multiples? And it was of unit fractions. So now we just have multiples of fractions, okay? Multiples, remember? Multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12. Multiples of 5, 5, 10, 15, 20. You start to multiply that number. Okay, so let's see here. It says list the next 4 multiples of the fraction. All right, so number 1, the first fraction is 3/5. I'm going to write it right there. So if I'm multiplying 3/5, that means I have 3/5 again and again and again, right? Isn't multiplication the same as repeated addition? I keep having 3/5 and another 3/5 and another 3/5. Okay, so 3/5 plus another 3/5, well, that's 6/5, right? And is 3 times 2 6? Yeah, 3 times 1 is 3. That's the first multiple. 3 times 2 is 6/5. So we don't change that denominator once again because we didn't change how many pieces make a whole thing. It's still 5. We're just multiplying the number of pieces that we have. First we had 3 pieces, then the next multiple is 6 pieces, so another set of 3/5, 3, 6, 9, 9/5. Okay, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. I bet you know the next multiple, don't you? 3, 6, 9, 12. And then what's the denominator? It's fifths. Now we're just writing all these fractions greater than 1, aren't we, guys? Right? But it's okay because the directions say to write the next 4 multiples of the fraction. So what we're doing is writing the multiples of that first number, the pieces, the 3 pieces. Multiply that by 2, we get 6. By 3, 9. By 4, 12. And then the last one is, of course, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15/5. Excellent job. All right, let's look at number 2. Oh, number 2 is even better. 6 is going to be the denominator the whole time, okay, because we're not changing how many pieces make the whole. But let's look at the 2. We are going to multiply that or find the multiples of 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You guys knew that one, didn't you? Very, very well done, guys. So multiples of fractions are really like multiples of whole numbers, except we're just dealing with the numerator of fractions. Okay? Beautiful. All right, so I couldn't fit the directions. I'm going to read them out loud to you here. It says, write the product as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. A whole number and a unit fraction. That's like what we did in yesterday's lesson. Like, for example, if we had, I don't know, like 7/12, we wrote that as a whole number times a unit fraction. Remember that? 1/12. How many sets of 1/12? 7/12? 7. 7 sets of 1/12. So it'll be 1/12 plus 1/12 plus 1/12, blah, 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 7 times. So they want us to write 2 times 4/5 as the product of a whole number and a unit fraction. Now this one is just an example, of course, right? Let's see here. Before I do that, this nice number line is showing me there's one set of 4/5, right? One set of 4/5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4/5, two sets of 4/5. So two sets of 4/5 is 8/5. Well, that makes sense to me, because if I did repeated addition, right, two sets of 4/5 is 8/5. But they want me to write 8/5 as the sum, right, like right up here, of a whole number and a unit fraction. All right, so I'm going to keep my 8/5 down here. So 2 times 4/5 is the same as times whole number and unit fraction. What's the unit fraction going to be for 8/5? Well, that's just going to be 1. Remember, unicycle, 1 unit, 1, and then fifth. And how many sets of 1/5 is 8/5? Well, it's 8. So 2 and 4/5 is the same as 8 times 1/5. Does that make sense to you guys? Two sets of 4/5, which is 8/5, is, and then just written a different way, is 8 times 1/5. Nice job. All right, now we're down at the bottom. Jessica, let's read this. Read along with me. Jessica is making 2 loaves of banana bread. I love banana bread. She needs 3/4 cup of sugar for each loaf. Okay. Her measuring cup can only hold 1/4 cup of sugar. Oh, so she just has this little measuring cup. Okay, let's say it looks like this. And it can only hold 1/4 cup of sugar. Okay. How many times will Jessica need to fill the measuring cup in order to get enough sugar for both loaves of bread? Ooh. Do we need to reread on that? Yeah, and I'm gonna do some writing as I go here too. All right. So Jessica's making 2 loaves of banana bread. So here they are. 1, 2. Check. She needs 3/4 cup of sugar for each loaf. So this loaf needs 3/4. And what does this loaf need? Also 3/4. Okay, so guys, like always, I'm rereading, and I'm reading it in chunks. So like I'll read a sentence and really digest it and try to understand it. Then I'll go to the next sentence and I'll think, what does that mean? Is there a way I can write that to help me visualize it? Okay. All right, so here we are right there. Her measuring cup can only hold 1/4. So that's what I drew right up there. There's her measuring cup. So what they're asking is, how many times will Jessica need to fill the measuring cup in order to get enough sugar for both loaves of bread? So what they mean by that is, each time she fills the measuring cup, that's only 1/4 cup of sugar. Okay, so how many times is she going to have to scoop into the big tub of sugar? Sugar's bad for you though. So how many times is she going to have to scoop out of here to make all the banana bread? Well, she only gets 1/4 each time. So right here, she's going to scoop once, that's 1/4. Twice, that's 2/4. 3 times, that's 3/4. So it'd be 1/4, 2/4, 3/4 with her little measuring cup. Okay, so that's 3 scoops into the sugar. And then the same thing here. She's going to have to go whoop and scoop 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, because her cup only holds that 1/4. So it's going to be 3 scoops for this loaf of bread as well. So how many times does she need to fill that measuring cup? She needs to fill it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for both loaves of bread. So let's see, how many times? 6 times. All right? When we first read that, I was like, what? But then I chunked it out, I reread it, and it was like, oh, I gotcha. All right, here we go. This is on the back, the top. David is filling 5 3-quart bottles with a sports drink. His measuring cup only holds 1 quart. What's with these people with these small measuring devices? How many times will David need to fill the measuring cup in order to fill the 5 bottles? Oh, this is so similar to the one we just did. I'm going to go back, start reading again, and I'm going to draw it out though, okay? David is filling 5 3/4 quart bottles. Okay, so 1, 2, I said that wrong before. I think I said 3-quart bottles. It's 3/4 quart bottles. I'll do one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, those are the bottles that David is going to fill. What goes into each one? 3/4. Says it right there. Each one has 3/4. Okay. Again, with the measuring cup situation, the measuring cup only holds 1/4. So how many times will David need to fill the measuring cup with sports drink to fill all 5 bottles? Well, I think we can do this one a little more quickly, don't you? So 1/4 is going to go 1, 2, 3 in there. Whoops. Right? 3. 3 more is 6. 9. 12. 15. He has to scoop Gatorade 15 times in his 1/4 measuring cup. Okay, so it's 3 scoops in here, right? 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. 1, 2, 3 scoops there. That's 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, right? 3 scoops here. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. That one's kind of crazy. So each of these gets 3 scoops. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 scoops. All right, good work, guys. All right, now let's pop down here to a little review, spiral review. Ira has 128 stamps in his stamp album. He has the same number of stamps on each of 8 pages. How many stamps are on each page? All right, let me reread this. Ira has 128 stamps in his stamp album, and he has the same number of stamps on 8 pages. Okay, I bet you guys already know what to do. 128, same number on 8 pages. How many on each page? Well, think about 128 stamps. Some on the first page, same amount on the second page, same amount on the third page. What operation is that when you have something you're separating into equal amounts? That's right, it's our good friend division. Okay, and do you remember we said, does McDonald's serve cheeseburgers? Just to help you remember the steps. Okay, the first is D for divide. So I go divide 8 into 1. Well, I can't separate 1 into 8 parts like in a whole number. No. Okay, so then we think 8 and 12. We have to go over to the tens place. So 8, 16, well, 8 goes into 12 definitely one time, right? That's our divide. And you put the answer to that divide part right up there because we're trying to get the quotient. We are doing division. All right, next is multiply. You multiply 1 times the 8, and it's of course 8. So that's the multiplication step. Then we have subtraction. 12 minus 8. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 4. Check. And then, oh, C is for check. Is 4 less than 8? It is, so we can move on to the B for bring down. We bring down this 8 from the ones place. And then we start, oh, check, check. Then we start all over again with divide, okay? Divide this number. 8 into 48. You know your 8s pretty well? Let's see, 8, 16, 24, right? 32, 40, 48. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. D for divide. 48 goes into 8 6 times. Where do we write that 6? Up here in the quotient, because we're doing division, right? So then we multiply. 6 times 8 is 48. Subtract. 48 minus 48 is 0. So how many stamps are on each of Ira's? Why did I say David? That's not even close to Ira. How many stamps are on each of Ira's stamp book album collection page? 16. Awesome job, guys. You're doing great.